Everyone, my name is Leroy. I am from France, from the French embassy. We will wait a little bit more for your colleagues, but we come a little bit later. I don't know if you heard about Campus France. I'm not sure if I see a reaction. So Campus France, I will talk about it. It's the agency that promotes opportunities to study in France abroad. I am the representative at Uzbekistan. We are an office at the Alliance Française Attachée. And one of my missions is to present to Uzbek students, brilliant Uzbek students, the opportunities to study in France, to create projects. I hope that you will be interested in this presentation. From which programs are you currently?
Accounting and audit.
Sorry?
Accounting and audit.
Okay.
Our
Okay.
Les sciences économiques finance.
Oh, you speak French.
Oui, je suis aussi un stagiaire à l'Union française il y a 2 ans
Okay.
et j'ai étudié à l'école française de Tachkent quand j'étais vraiment petite.
Okay.
Oui.
Cool. Great. And you?
I work here as a professor, so I need to know the knowledge and I will share this knowledge with my students.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay. So,
I'm a master student, and our field is automation in technological process.
in which field? Agriculture or more general?
Water management.
Water management. Great. Okay. Description. So,
Yes.
okay.
My name is Qanday. I'm studying here for master's degree. My field is bioeconomy.
Okay. Very good. Correct. So, management in the field of agriculture.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also,
Okay.
so
Yeah. Okay. Agriculture organization.
Studying economics. This is something. My domain is economics.
Okay. So 3 economists, 2 water engineers in a way, and 2 in the field of agriculture. Yes, sir. Have a seat. Have a seat. Okay. Okay. If you have to go, please feel free to go. I don't want you to be forced to stay here. So, and just for curiosity, how many among you have international certificates, like from language, in English or in French? English. You all have IELTS. Okay, great. Good to know. All right. Not doing nothing. Joy, Bob. I have a very small voice,
Yeah.
so and my English is also, so please come closer. It will be easier to make your question and to hear me clearer. So, in which, the 6 of you, in which master degree or bachelor degree are you studying currently?
You're studying hydrotechnical construction.
Hydrotechnical
construction.
Okay, all right. The 3 of you.
No, the 2 of
The 2 of you. You?
Water saving technology.
Water?
Saving technology.
Okay, great. In master degrees?
Yes.
Okay. And you?
Economics.
Economics? Okay, so team economics is here. Another part of the water and engineering team is here. Okay. How much time do you have? Should we begin?
Yeah, we should speak.
Okay, I will begin. For those who are not here, it's too late. So, as I told you, for those who came earlier, my name is Leroy. I am representative of Campus France, public agency that promotes possibilities to study in France and also supports Uzbek students, in your case, that who would like to study in France. And we give like free services advice, like regarding how to choose, how to apply, and after to get the visa and to prepare yourself to go to France. Everything is free. You don't need to pay for this support. We have an office at the Alliance Française of Tashkent. I don't know if you know this association where you can learn French, and it's in Labzak neighborhood. And we have a website which is completely in Russian, with a lot of information, basic information on our higher education system. As well, we have an Instagram account where we put some news about like scholarship programs. So when we speak about France, about what do you think spontaneously?
If you say France.
Eiffel Tower? Yes.
Baseball.
Paris.
Yes, Paris, cities, what else?
Museums.
Central European Union.
Yeah.
Taxi. If you have French certificate, you go travel some places such as Eiffel Tower and others.
Okay. So mainly about architecture, actually. Monuments, cities. So of course, when we ask people, often they think about like tourism, like Paris, Eiffel Tower, croissant, of course, baguettes, bread, gastronomy, like wine, cheese. We are very famous for that. Some say about Paris, like romantic city and love. But higher, it's true that we are a very attractive country. First tourist destination, among the first tourist destination in the world every year. We have a lot of museums. We have a lot of movie theaters with a very dynamic cinema industry. We have a lot of concerts, festivals. When you travel in France, you have very various landscapes, culture within France. When you are in the south, in Marseille, it's different, completely different. When we are in Brittany, or if you are going to Strasbourg, which is very close to German culture, so German architecture, German food. So we are very rich culture. So for you as a student, it's very interesting. By the way, when you are a foreign student, you have the same right as French students. So you get some discount to go to movie theaters. Some museums are free. Also, like if you want to travel, you have also discounts when you are young people to travel in trains. So it's quite easy to travel in France and to discover our wonderful country. But France is not only about tourism and culture, as you said. It's also about higher education and science, and that's why I'm here. We are a very dynamic country in the field of higher education and research. Maybe you heard about Marie Curie, who was the first woman to get a Nobel Prize. She's French and Polish, and she got her first Nobel Prize in 1903 in chemistry, no, in physics, sorry. Sorry? Yes, in physics, and the second, but it was about radiation, right? And second, and she's the only woman to get two Nobel Prize in chemistry in 1911. In mathematics, we are one of the countries with the most of medal fields. So mathematics are very developed in France in research, but not only. Economics, we have also like some Nobel Prize in economics, like all. Medicines. Last year, we got one French woman, Anne Huillier, she got a Nobel Prize in physics with her colleagues. So we still have a very dynamic research and higher education system, which welcome every year about 400,000 foreign students. So we are very attractive. We are the sixth destination in the world for higher education, welcoming foreign students. And we are, I think, for non-speaking English countries, it's quite dynamic. It's also about economics. We had a lot of students from the economics field. We are the seventh largest economy for the GDP in the world. We are very active and the second economy in the Eurozone, so in the EU. In the field of agriculture, we are the first agriculture in the EU and the second agro-food industry in the EU. So very dynamic, just for reminding you that the EU is the first agricultural power in the world. In the field of water, I'm sure you already have heard of very big groups, very dynamic groups in this field. For instance, Suez or Veolia that are active in Uzbekistan. So it's also very interesting if you do your study in France to get then an internship or a first job in these companies to get experience, which will be very useful then to continue in France or abroad or in Uzbekistan. So for this reason, I think you should also choose France. When you study in France, one of your colleagues already master our language. You will learn French. Maybe before leaving Uzbekistan, it's always very nice to begin to study French in Uzbekistan. And then in France, during your program, you will have the opportunity to learn a second international language. Some of you already speak Russian, so it will be a third one. And it's quite useful, not only for the access to culture and to make friends, but for the daily life first. When you will study, of course, in English, it's possible to live, but the majority of our population is not fluent or, how to say, comfortable talking in French. So it's always better to get a little bit of French before leaving. In addition, for your career perspective, it's quite useful to have like a third or a second international language. If you want to get a professional experience in France or an internship, knowing French is a huge asset. In addition, if you want then to have a career, an international career, either in big groups like Suez or Veolia for water, but also in other countries like Canada or Belgium, Switzerland, knowing French is a huge asset. So professionally speaking, it will be very useful. And finally, if you want to get a scholarship from the French embassy, knowing French, if you choose a program in English, is also a huge asset. So I talked about you already that we are every year about 400,000 students, international students. We are the sixth most popular destination, and we are not among those English-speaking destinations. So culture, high quality education, we have very good high quality education and affordable because you will see later we have some reductions and anyway. Quickly, how is organized the French higher education? We have various types of schools. The main two types that interest you is universities that are like here in Uzbekistan. The majority are public. They are in every big cities of France, and they are more accessible. The majority of foreign students are studying in universities. The tariffs to study in universities are quite competitive, and they offer various degrees in various fields. So in addition to these universities that are very good quality, among the main famous, you have like Sorbonne, of course, but also Paris-Saclay for science and among the big international ranking, sorry. Also, you have Paris Dauphine in the field of economics. It can be also interesting. In addition, sorry, to these very good higher education institutions, we have the system of qanday. In Russian, it will say it will be Vysshaya Shkola. It's very selective higher education institutions specialized in a field. They can be public or private. And as they are more selective, their main objective is to be very excellent. Students that apply in these programs, they are selected with an examination. Usually students who don't get in the first year through an examination, the foreign students that get in these programs will choose master degrees, Master of Sciences degrees, or PhD. They are specialized in various fields. In your case, I think two fields would be very relevant. It would be engineering, of course, water or mechanization, irrigation, yes, water, sorry. But also business schools for those who are interested in economics. Just for information, universities are quite competitive for the prices. Grandes écoles will be more expensive, but it's the cost of the quality also. The quality and
reputation, knowledge, networking that you will get in these universities, in these, grandes écoles, has a price. There is also, for those who are more about culture, art schools, and other specialized schools and institutes that I won't develop. Just for info, for those who are interested about business management, if you check the top 10 ranking of business schools of Financial Times, 5 of the 10, including the first one, are French. Often you have like some that have different campuses. For instance, INSEAD, it has one campus in France, but also one in Singapore. So, but we are very dynamic in the EU for our higher education system. Just to show you like some higher education just with the logo. So in universities, you have Paris-Saclay, I already mentioned it. Paris-Dauphine, PSL. PSL is the first French university in the international rankings like Times, QS, and Shanghai rankings. Panthéon-Sorbonne is also very famous. I put other universities, like for instance, Poitiers, who is very active in, it's a small university, but is very active in Central Asia. So they know Uzbekistan. They have several partnerships with Uzbek universities. In addition, they have one program they developed with Hanoi University about water. So for those who are really into going specialized in water, but they're not always thinking about France, it could be also a good, how to say, perspective, opportunity to study. You have also in region, it's not only in Paris, you have also Marseille, that is very famous. Strasbourg, it's the first university that welcomes Uzbek students. At least last year, I had the majority of Uzbek students went to Strasbourg. Lyon, Grenoble, Le Havre, for instance. This part is about grandes écoles, as I told you. So the most famous, sorry for the quality of the picture, it's École Polytechnique. So it's very elite university, grande école in France about engineering. You have also ISAE, for instance, Institut Mines Telecom, the group INSA. So you have different schools in France with different engineering programs. INP, the same logic. In economics, I told you about HEC, which is the first business school in Times, Financial Times ranking for the EU. ESCP, EM Lyon, for instance. ENS, sorry, is SUSPO. It's about political science, international relations. It can be interesting to check their programs, but I think it's not as focused on what you are interested in, but you can still have a look. So the organization of higher education in France, actually, it's a little bit like you, but you'll see that the baccalaureate in France is called licence. It's only 3 years. The majority of the program, quasi-majority, it's in French. So for you, anyway, it won't be interesting. Then you go to a master degree. You can do in 1 or 2 years. If you really want to have the full program, you should do it in 2 years. You can find here more programs in English. And then you have also the opportunity, if you want, to do some PhD, doctorate. It's minimum 3 years. It's very difficult. You have to have a very good level in English or in French. And English, it will be mainly for science, like mathematics, physics, chemistry, because they are more international, or IT, for instance, but it's still possible. For humanities, usually they will require a good level of French, C1, C2. So this is for universities, you see, like here. And you have grandes écoles. So I told you, it's usually students that came, like, who are French or foreigners that came in the first year of grandes écoles. It's a degree in 5 years. You have to do the 5 years to get the degree. You get a master level degree. So that's why foreign students, they can enter in the 2 last year of the degree to get a master degree. And you see this, how to say, arrows. It shows that even though at the beginning it looks very different, you have the opportunities to move between the different systems. I won't develop about vocational training because it's not, I think, the purpose of this presentation. Sorry. And okay.
opportunities. I think it's maybe what you're the most interested in. So first of all, and that's why I ask you the question, you need to study in France to have a good level either in French or in English. Ideally speaking, if you have a good level in English, it would be ideal if you could already begin to learn French too. So we require a B2 level with an international certificate. It's already better. So French, DALF, CCIT, IELTS, TOEFL. Some programs for French will require a C1, just for information. Then you have to look for the degrees, check the calendars, and then apply. Then when you apply, if you want to have a scholarship, you have to apply to the scholarship. It's two things different. I will come back to scholarships, don't worry. And you have to get an admission letter. And if you get an admission letter, you have to apply for a visa. Even though you don't have an admission letter, even though you got an admission letter, it doesn't mean that you will have a visa. It's not 100% because they have some criteria. So I prefer to warn you in advance. But normally, usually, you get a visa, but it's not 100%. So to help you to find the degrees in English, in particular, we have various catalogs that will help you. I will send it to your international office representative. You have various catalogs that gather some programs either in English or in French. This one is for French degrees, so you don't need, unless you want to study in French, sorry. This one, it's about, for those who are in economics, we have like IAE, so Institute of Economic Activities or Economic Affairs, I always mix. You can find some master degrees in English. These institutes, they are within public universities, so you should find programs with very competitive price specialized in economics. It's a kind of public business schools. And the quality is here too. So here you will have like business management, finance programs. So it's really about for those who are interested in economic science. Program taught in English. So we have a specific platform dedicated to programs in English. Have a look, but I prefer to warn you, it's not always updated by French higher education universities because they have to do it and they are not always doing it. Why is it useful? Because sometimes it's updated, so you can find a program that interests you, and sometimes you identify a higher education institution and you get to the website to have a look if they have still the program. Because sometimes it's also an IT issue and not a program that does not exist anymore. We have also the PhD, Campus France. So I won't develop, but you have also the opportunity to find some subject of PhD and also some school, doctoral school, if you want to do a doctorate or a PhD in France. So if some of you are interested, we can meet at the Alliance Française and discuss more in depth about PhD. And then you have also opportunities to do some online degrees program. I know that it's always quite difficult to find programs, so I'm very nice. And I put you a list of universities where I know that I found some programs about agriculture, biology in English. So I will send it also to your international office. For instance, in the University of Avignon, it's a small city in the south of France. You have an international master degree in rural activities, so about rural development. So it can be interesting to check this program, for instance. And those small universities, they don't welcome very much international students like the universities in Paris. So sometimes it will be easier to get in these programs. Not always the case, but it can be very interesting. The same with Grandes Écoles. I put you some Grandes Écoles. I know that they have some programs in English. And the same for water. I put some programs like Montpellier, for instance. Université de Pau, actually, it's a small university in the southwest of France, nearby Pyrenees Mountains and nearby Spain. And they have a program about water, so it can be interesting. Université de Lille, IMP, Toulouse, École Centrale. These two are engineering schools, just for your information. So it can help you to identify some programs. Okay? Cost. First of all, for your information, even though you have to do if you choose, to study in the public university in France, you are already a winner of a grant because the French higher education is subsidized by the French state. So if you get to the French public university, 2/3 of the cost, well, or more than 2/3 of the cost of your degree is already paid by the French state, even though you are not French. So it works for you too. So you already get a scholarship first. If you see, this is like the average prices for foreign students outside the EU. So 3,770 euros or 380 euros for the PhD. This is for public university. And this is only if you get the special tariffs for outside the EU students. Sometimes some French public university decide to give the same rights to students outside the EU and to students from inside the EU. In that case, instead of 3,770 euros, you will have to pay only 243 euros per year for a master degree. It's not in all universities, so you have to check, unfortunately. But it's still happening. So it's quite competitive. This is public universities because when we go to training fees for grandes écoles and private institutions, as I told you, the quality has a cost, and it will be between 3,000 and 45,000 per year. So it will be more expensive. I prefer to warn you in advance because sometimes you have very nice programs, but if you don't have the revenues, it can be difficult. Then, in addition to the cost of the study, you have to have the means, to live in France. In average, in France, it's about 800 euros per month. But if you live, for instance, and study in Paris region or in big cities like Strasbourg, Nice, and Lille, Lyon, Marseille, it will go up to 1,500 euros per month. The bigger part is accommodation. I think it's also the case in Tashkent. You can have very high rental cost, but also the cost of life, energy cost increased since 2022. So you have to take into account because if you don't have, the revenues to pay for this, you won't get the visa. It's something you have to prove in advance. All right. But don't worry, there are some funding. So first of all, and I will develop a little bit, we have the France Excellence Uzbekistan Scholarship Program. This scholarship program is from the French Embassy. It's currently open until the 22nd of March. So you can apply now if you have a B2 level international certificate and if you want to study in a master degree in France. The whole program is presented on the website of the university. I already sent, I think, to your international affair the link. So you can apply now. Something I noticed, some students, they don't understand that even though you applied for the scholarship program, you will have to apply also for the master program. It's very important because some students, I think that as they applied for the scholarship program, the embassy will apply for them. No, it's two different things. It's very independent. You have to apply for the scholarship program and you have to apply for the master program. For information, some universities, they require you to, some schools, mainly not universities, but schools, they can require you to pay for the application. Usually university doesn't require you to pay. So if you are not sure to get the scholarship and you are not sure about studying in France, maybe you should not pay. But otherwise, if you really want to study and to get the scholarship, I would advise you to apply. Anyway, it's a training for next year or the year after. Okay. There will be a selection. Everything is explained, sorry, in the call for application. If you want to have more information or if you have a question, please feel free to write us. I will show you at the end of the presentation, the email, and we can discuss meet for your project to help you to apply. Yes, to apply for a master degree in English in France, you don't have one platform, unfortunately. It exists only for the first year master. So, but for English master, sorry, first year master in French. But for master in English, each university and each grande école, they have their own platform. So they have their own calendar, they have their own process of selection. So it will be longer to do it, but if you really want to do it, please do it. And I'll advise you to check the calendar because sometimes we get the bad surprise of applying for the scholarship, thinking that you have time to apply for the master degree. You get the scholarship, but you didn't apply in time to the master degree, and then you lose the scholarship if you get selected. So really, it's like now, that's why we do also the presentation. If you want and you are interested in, if you want to study in France, I would advise you to do it now. Excellence Eiffel. So this is the second public French Foreign Affairs Ministry scholarship program. It's a two-step program for master or PhD degrees. You can do it in French or in English. It's a two-step because the application is in two steps. First, you apply to a call for application managed by a French university. It occurred between October and November, December. So you have until November, December to apply for one program of master or one program of PhD. And if your application is very good and your profile is very interesting for the university, they will select your application and present it to a second call for application managed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's why it's a two-step. And that's why you have to do it like in advance. Anticipation is a key. So we are in March. If you don't get the scholarship now, but you really want to study in France, I would advise you, and you have identified a program of master or a program of PhD in France you would like to do. I would advise you to contact the head of the team of this master, present yourself, present your project, discuss with them about the possibility to do their master, and if your profile would be relevant, for instance, for the Excellence Eiffel program. Because if you do it like now, I mean, until June, you create the link, you discuss about your project. It will be easier then to apply in September, October, December, November, and to have higher chance to get selected. Okay? Any question regarding the scholarship program for the moment? Other source of funding. Uzbek source of funding. So I Love to Media Foundation, I guess you all know them. Uzbek use of agencies, sometimes you have the opportunity. We had a student who got a scholarship last year to study in a bachelor degree in France, so it's possible. Actually, for the Excellence Eiffel program, it's very selective. It's one or two students, sometimes quite rare per country, but it's possible. We got some Uzbek student who got last year a scholarship from this very demanding and selective program. So try if you think and you really want to try. Sorry, I come back to those programs. Islamic Development Bank. Uzbekistan is member of the Islamic Cooperation Organization, and you are eligible to a scholarship to study with Islamic Development Bank. So please have a look. European Joint Master Degrees. I don't know if you know these programs. Do you actually or not at all?
Yeah, I know.
I hope that you know. So just briefly, these master degrees, they are funded by the Erasmus Mundus EU program, so a European program, and it's organized between different EU and outside EU universities. So, for instance, you applied for a EU joint master programs. You will do the first semester in one French university, the second semester in an Italian one, the third semester in a German one, and the fourth semester either an working experience or you go back to another campus of the first one. So it's quite interesting because you have a huge European experience. In addition, usually it's very technical, like specialized in a field because they want to develop research and to create links, connections between sectors and between countries. And it's interesting for you because you have Erasmus Mundus scholarship programs. So you have funds dedicated to foreign students and EU students. And sometimes, and it's also interesting for you, you have special scholarship programs from the Erasmus Mundus program that are dedicated to one region. For instance, we had one student who got a scholarship program, Erasmus Mundus program, dedicated to the three countries of Central Asia, so Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan. It's possible for you. Actually, it was in the field of molecular agriculture or chemistry, so quite close to your fields. You have more programs in science, like physics, chemistry, so it can be very interesting for you to study these opportunities. Universities Excellence Scholarship Program. What is it? It's programs that are offered by public universities or grandes écoles for foreign students. Usually they are in master level, and you can have two situations. One situation is a scholarship like excellency scholarship that is granted to the foreign student that have applied, and you get an allowance every month, and in addition to various reductions, you don't pay the fees. This is the first possibility. The second possibility is a reduction of the cost, or you don't pay the cost of the training, but you still have to pay for your daily life. So these are the two opportunities. Actually, you have several ones. For instance, I mentioned Paris-Saclay. They have International Excellency Scholarship Program. So please have a look, and usually either you have to apply at the same time and they will offer you, either you apply for the program and it's automatically applied for the scholarship. So it can be an alternative if you don't get a public scholarship, for instance. And finally, companies sponsoring. So I don't know if you have the tradition in Uzbekistan to like ask to companies to support your studies if you want to work at afterwards, sorry, in their companies. But in France, it's developing more and more some partnership between companies and students. We have, for instance, in Uzbekistan, one program between one French Uzbek company and the embassy, which covers approximately the same as the France Excellence program. So it's quite generous. It's in fields that are connected to the field of the company. But just for your information, in Uzbekistan, we have Veolia, we have Suez. They have like big contracts with Sultanminot or other Uzbek companies. So they will need to have like very competent, skilled labor force. So it could be an interesting area to study also. Like, right, we had a student, he has been selected in an engineering program in aeronautics, and he wrote to different companies in Uzbekistan to see if it was possible to get support from these companies to get his study paid. So try it. Maybe if we have the same program as the one we have currently with Nordlicum, so in the field of uranium, if we have the same program about water, it would be interesting to you to apply so that you can get some support. So if you have more questions, and I will free you because it's been quite long, you can meet for an interview at the Alliance Française of Tashkent, so Labzak neighborhood. It's every Wednesday, sorry. You have to register, so send an email to campus.uz@gmail.com. If you have questions about the scholarship program, the same. It's me behind this webmail. I'm sorry if sometimes I take time to answer because I'm alone. But please feel free to send me questions, to apply. The application is free. It's like the services of the Campus France, it's free. So take your time. Yes, I come back, sorry, to the scholarship program. I told you have to apply for a master's degree independently. If you don't get an admission before the end of before the deadline, sorry, it's okay, because you can apply without admission letter to the scholarship program. There will be a pre-selection and selection process. And if your profile convinces, you will get a scholarship, at least until you get an admission letter connected to the list of programs you have identified. Is it clear? Feel free to ask me to explain again differently in Russian, because I want to be sure that you understood well.
What does a scholarship cover?
Okay, good question. It's in the call for application, but as I have time, I can give you the information. So the scholarship covers a monthly allowance of 860 euros. In addition, you won't pay you will have a plane ticket to Devratna. You won't pay for the visa. You won't pay for the social security and healthcare insurance. You will, if you are in a public universities, you won't pay for the registration fees, so the 3,770 euros, but 3,000.
Registration?
Yes, but it's this registration fees.
Okay, yes.
But why I said registration fees, because sometimes in addition to registration fees in public universities, you have training fees. And in grandes écoles and private institutions, you just have training fees. These training fees are not covered by the scholarship program. I prefer to warn you in advance. So I told you only cover registration fees in public universities, okay? It can be important for the choice of program. Last year, we had a brilliant Uzbek student who got the scholarship, but she had been selected in a grande école program. The training fees were about 20,000 euros per year. But unfortunately, the scholarship couldn't cover it. So it has to be in mind, just don't forget. So yes, and last important point, as a winner of a French state scholarship, you will get access to the public dormitory, and these dormitories have a rental payment that is lower than the cost of the market for accommodation. So it can be very competitive For you, for instance, you will pay 200 euros or 300 euros instead of 800 euros. For instance, it's an example. It depends on each region. So yes, and you have a priority for this dormitory compared to other foreign students. Any questions? Anyway, yes, sorry. Please go to the application, call for application, because everything is explained, so it will be both in French and English, so it will be easier to understand. You had a question?
Yeah, the question might be from students like engineering students should have more than IELTS certificate or not, like SAT or something like this, like American universities require.
I understand. It depends on the universities. If you go to the website, and that's why you have to go to the website of the university, use the catalog to identify programs, but then check the website of the university. They will tell you, as a foreign student, what you need to provide. Some, because they are completely on the same way of working than the American one, they can ask for the SAT, but as it's not your system and it's not our system, it can be also like motivation letter, resume, results from the bachelor, and recommendation letter sometimes, and that's it. Because there will be an interview, or it depends. The objective is also to bring students from all over the world to have a very diverse international community of students. And they are aware that the higher education system in Mongolia or in Uzbekistan is not the same as in India, is not the same as in South Africa, in Brazil, or in the UK. So each system is original, so it could be like easier. We have some Uzbek students that got selected for like master degrees in France, so it's possible. And I'm not sure, but I don't remember they had a SAT, for instance. And from public universities as from private universities. The student I mentioned, like the one who was selected for very selective engineering school about aeronautics, he was from the the State Transport University of Tashkent. So it's possible with from studying in the public sector. It's not only from international universities. So, and I don't remember that he had like all the certification like SAT. And for the GPA, the same. Often the students ask me, what do you require? Of course, the same. We don't have the same way to evaluate, to assess the students. I would tell you, you need to have very good result. Like if you don't have 5.55 or 4.55, but only 3, 2, it will be difficult. But GPA, we are not the US, so maybe they will require it, for instance, in business schools, but I can't tell you. Also for I showed you the platform IAE, like Institute. You have a new test score. It is not compulsory to get it. And it's not possible currently to pass it in Uzbekistan. So if they require it, you can send an email to the university explaining your situation. You are in Uzbekistan, it's not possible to pass the exam. Is it still possible for you to apply, as it's not something compulsory for the selection of a degree in this kind of EIE institutions? Other question? Still alive?
The question is there any quotas for Uzbekistan students, or the Uzbekistan students who apply, they will compete with the rest of the world?
They will compete with the rest of the world. For the scholarship program or for the... Well, I think the answer is in this is France Excellence Uzbekistan. So the only competition is between Uzbek citizens.
There are some quotas. There are some quotas, places for students of Uzbekistan?
For the scholarship, but not for the students. Like if you apply, you will for a university or degree, you will be in competition with other students. Because application for the scholarship doesn't mean you will have a place for sure in a university. You have to apply both to the scholarship and to the degree. So the degree, you will be in competition with all students from all over the world. If you choose only programs in Paris, it can be very interesting, but the majority of students, they will do the same. So the competition will be higher. For instance, we recommend, for instance, for bachelor degree, to Uzbek students who wants to do economics, for instance, not to choose not only universities from Paris, but like one university in Paris and two from different regions, smaller cities, smaller universities. It doesn't mean that it's not good, but at least you increase your chances with it. I said only three because they have only three for bachelor degree in French. For master degrees in English, you have no limitation. So apply as much as you want when it's not when you don't have to pay. Just for your information, I really advise you to adapt your application. Sending always the same, changing the name of the university is not a good idea. You have to look for information on the website of the university. What about this university? What about their research field? Like if they have like specialists who have been who have published, for instance, in the field you are interested in. What about your project? What about the region, for instance? It's always nice to see. I saw that you have this laboratory or this company or the partnerships. I saw that you have this partnership with this American university, and I think that shows that you are very good. I give you some ideas, but it's you who have to adapt. Why I tell you this? Because I see students that don't adapt, and the chances are lower. If you say just I apply for the quality of the higher education, as the whole system is based on quality, why choose me and not another university? It's like you are selling yourself, and in a way, you are selling yourself by showing proofs of love. So if you want to show proofs of love, you have to show interest. And it's the same for the scholarship programs. Like show interest in France, show interest in the country, in the system. I don't know if you understand. If you just say a superficial thing about like higher education or about the EU, not getting like showing more interest, getting more information by yourself, it won't have the same impact. And yes, so this one scholarship program is dedicated to Uzbek students. This one is global. So bigger competition. I told you about Poitiers earlier. It's a smaller university which knows Uzbekistan. How do you want? Sorry, this is a way to find degrees and to increase your chances to be selected. Choose smaller universities. Choose universities that have already partnerships with Uzbek universities, like from National University of Uzbekistan. I won't tell you that, you have to look for it. But we have some French universities which have partnerships with Uzbek universities. So it can be a way also to increase your chances. They know Uzbekistan, so it's easier for them, for instance. For instance, just for your information, but yes, AgroParisTech, a very selective école d'ingénieurs. They have some EU joint master degrees, and one Uzbek student got selected in one of the EU joint master degrees. They know Uzbekistan. Two students from this university did agrarian diagnostic in Uzbekistan last year. They know Uzbekistan. but it's a grande école, so it will be selective and it will be more expensive. But AgroParisTech is connected to Université Paris-Saclay. Then also Uzbekistan, because each year they get some Uzbek students. So I just can tell you, try, work on your application, and I hope that I will get some good news from you. If you need help to look for it, like I gave you quite a lot of information, like universities where I know because I saw that they have program. Don't look always for the name of what you are looking for, but sometimes, for instance, water. If you put water, you might not find always a master degree about water. But if you check chemistry, sometimes in specialization, you will have something about water treatment, for instance. Yes. So you have these, and you have these programs. And if you still need help, we can discuss. First of all, you have to do the first step. It's very important. Because in France, I won't be here to help you to do everything. So you have to be autonomous also in your applications. For the scholarship program, I can't help you. Like, I can give you the information. So if you don't understand something, I can help, but I can't read your application letters. I can't read your CV because I will receive it. So contradiction. But for master degrees, I can read your application letter. I can read your CV to tell you, be careful about this, be careful about that. Okay? And it's free because sometimes you have people who offers support services and you have to pay. In my case, I don't have a lot of time, but it's free. Okay? Any questions? Rahmat?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All about questions and questions?
Yeah. How long can it take you right now for universities to get acceptance letter? I mean, is it possible to get acceptance letter till the deadline? French excellence scholarship.
For English programs, it's possible. For French programs, you won't get. For grandes écoles, you can have, but for universities, you won't get. So that's why we accept applications without admission letters, because the admission letters for French master degree will be in June, July. So that's why I tell you, even though you don't have an admission letter, but you have already applied, it's always it's possible to apply. Why I tell you you have applied? Because if you just apply for the scholarship program, but you don't show proofs that you have applied, at least for a program in France, you don't show the same motivation. I give you another asset to be pre-selected. Okay? So yes, you can apply, and it's okay if you don't have an admission letter. And as I told you, English programs, the calendar is different. Some, for instance, the EU joint degrees, often they have already finished their selection. The deadline is already passed in February. Sometimes they have another deadline, so you can apply to the other deadline, but without the scholarship. So check the website. Actually, I will also send you the catalog, or is it here? No, I don't think, but there is a catalog for EU joint master degrees. Of course, if you want to do this program, you have to have 1 year in France because the scholarship is for 1 year. The scholarship is only for 1 year. The extension for the second year is not automatic, and it's quite not the rule. It's more the exception. It means that you have 1 year to identify the way to fund the second year. Okay. In France, you have the opportunity as a foreign student. At least you have the right to do dual education programs. So dual education programs, you do one part of the degree at the university, one part of the degree in a company. or in an administration. We have website to help you to find your education program. It's quite difficult, it's quite selective, but it's possible. As a French student, you have the right to work part-time job. It's legal. I will tell you in advance, it will be difficult, specifically in master degree, because you have a lot to do. It's very demanding, but if you have time and you want to work in a part-time job, you can. That could help you to fund your study project in France. Finally, in master degrees, it's often the case possible to do an internship. You have to find a place to do the internship. It's you who have to do the search. They won't hold your hand. I will tell you in advance, you have to do it by yourself. It's very important. But they will give you some advice. They will give you some contact. For instance, when I did my master degree, my supervisor of master degree put me in contact with the responsible of the unit where I did my internship. So it's possible to get some support. But and when you do an internship in France, if it's more than 2 months, you are paid. It's the law. If they don't pay you, they are breaking the law. Okay, and so you can get like and it depends on the field that you can get some support during like 6 months of internship. These internships can be a way to find a place to do a dual education program, for instance. Okay. Sure. Yes.
Yeah, this scholarship may cover travel to conferences to other cities or other country in that field?
No. No. The scholarship program, it's only to come from Uzbekistan to France and then to study in France. After, when you get your monthly allowance, you do what you want to with your money, but I would advise you to use it carefully to be able to stay in France in the best situation. But you can have like, if you are very parsimonious using your money and you get some 200 euros per month up, you can pay a plane ticket or a train ticket to go to Brussels or to, but it's your life. But this money is not for mobility, for research. And it's really for students to study 1 year in master degree. Or yes, an AFL program, it covers the whole degree. So 2 years of master if you get in the first year of master, 1 year of master if you get in the second year of master, and 3 years or more of PhD if you get in PhD. Any questions? I free you. It's okay if you don't have questions. I hope that I will receive emails of application. It's a lot of information.
You have explained very well and is very in detail. So I think it should take some time to digest for them to all information. And I believe that most of them will apply for that scholarship and will get some good news.
I hope so. I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you very much.